Get up indoors, qualify August 18th through 21st for the inaugural Birmingham Indoor Open, individual stroke play, flexible tee times, and a $500 championship prize. Then gather your crew for the Big Rooster Scramble. Qualify August the 4th through September 4th. The top 3 teams advance and one leaves swing away as the Big Cock champions. Book now.
Something that's not talked about enough in the industry is
you get burned out.
You're a pretty screwed up individual that is unbelievably buttoned up and put together.
That was something that happened to me.
We are all human beings.
I actually have a chance now to understand how to be a better parent.
You don't have to talk to a person to get your whole job site off the ground and going.
My daughter, she can sniff out the AI instantly.
They're not your customer.
I told Anna, I was like, we're going to see real quick who runs a good restaurant.
Doesn't matter if it's golf or cooking, you will get results when you love what you do.
This is Live on the Clubhouse with Charlie Bolak. Howdy, swingers. Charlie Bolak here, founder of Swing Away Golf Club and host of the Clubhouse Podcast. There's an old comparison I want to talk about between a horse and a mule. Horse will keep going because you tell it to. It'll keep working as long as it can go. It will carry a load until it absolutely collapses. A mule is different. A mule will work. A mule will carry a load. A mule will cross difficult terrain. It'll climb mountains and put in a full day's work. But when the mule decides the load's too heavy or the trail is too dangerous or it's reached its limit, mule stops. And because it stops, people call it stubborn. They call it difficult. They call it hard-headed. They may even call it lazy. But the mule's work ethic was never the problem. The problem is that the mule has boundaries. The horse gives you unquestioned compliance. The mule gives you sustainable effort. People have grown accustomed to unlimited access to your time, energy, and your labor will often treat your boundaries like a character defect. They don't call the mule lazy because it refuses to work. They call the mule lazy because they can't control how much the mule is willing to work before it says enough is enough. That's what I want to talk about today, boundaries. Because a boundary doesn't mean you're not willing to work. It doesn't mean you're selfish, weak, unreliable, or lazy. Sometimes a boundary is the reason you can keep doing good work. Sometimes a boundary is the reason you can be a better business owner, a better father, a better golfer, a better husband. The mule will do the work, just won't die proving that it can. I'm Charlie Bolak. This is the Clubhouse Podcast, and today we're talking about boundaries. Stick around.
We've really built a world-class golf facility here in Birmingham, Alabama. From the 16-foot wide bays to the real Italian leather bar stools, we designed this place with luxury in mind, and I don't think we missed. So whether you're looking to level up your game, have a fun, relaxing evening, or test yourself in one of our leagues or tournaments, do yourself a favor and take a short drive up Lake Shore to experience it for yourself, because I promise you one thing, Swing Away Golf Club is the place to be. Conveniently located off of Lake Shore Drive at 100 Frankfurt Circle, next to Overtime. We look forward to seeing you soon. Practice, play, win.
All right, welcome back to the Clubhouse Podcast with Charlie Bolak, where we talk about business, dad life, and golf. How the lessons from each tend to bleed into everything else. Today's episode is all about boundaries. The central idea is simple. Your willingness to work doesn't give other people ownership over your effort. You can have an incredible work ethic and still have limits. You can care deeply and still say no. You can be dependable without being endlessly available. In fact, the person with the strongest boundaries may ultimately accomplish more than the person who says yes to everything, because effort without direction eventually becomes waste. In business, we celebrate the horse, the employee who answers every phone call, the manager who responds to emails at midnight, the business owner who responds to every problem personally. We call these people dependable, and at first they probably are. But there's a point where dependability turns into unlimited access. Once people learn you have no boundaries, they begin planning around your lack of boundaries. They stop asking whether something is reasonable because they already know you'll find a way to do it. Their poor planning becomes your emergency. Their lack of preparation becomes your late night, and their refusal to make a decision becomes your burden to carry. And because you've always carried it, they always expect you to, until you don't. then you've changed. Then you've stopped being the horse they could ride indefinitely. You're learning to become the mule. The mule doesn't say, I don't care. The mule says, I care enough about the quality of my work to decide where my efforts belong. That may mean setting office hours. It may mean refusing to answer non-emergency calls at night. And it may be something as simple as just hiding notifications from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. Blocking off that time for your family. It's recognizing not every opportunity is a great opportunity. It may mean allowing someone else to experience consequences of a problem instead of constantly rescuing them. The mule may be capable of carrying the load, but it doesn't mean every load belongs on its back. There's also a strange tendency in business to confuse visible exhaustion with valuable work. People admire the person sending those emails at midnight. They're less impressed by the person who built the system that eliminated the need for midnight emails. One of my bosses asked about an upcoming safety inspection I had. Said, you haven't been reaching out, you haven't had your normal questions, blah, blah, blah. Basically a mini check-in, right? Are you there? Are you on track? You going to do well? I had been working on it internally. That was my third one to go through at that point. So I had my ducks in a row, and I didn't need my hand held. I was never much of a person that needed a whole lot of direction, but what I did like was kind of like you would ask the teacher if they could check over your work before you turned it in, that kind of, right? Who doesn't like that from somebody you expect that has the knowledge that's been there before, and you seek that guidance, right? But after a while, you get pretty comfortable in it, and it was just a little check-in. Hey, you going to be good on that? I hadn't heard much about it, and I rocked it out, followed that email up with a nice little snarky comment, and it was just a nice little moment, right? He said, "Hey, are you good?" I said, "Yes, I'm good." He left me alone. I delivered the result. That is where learning to become the mule is, being on the front end of setting those boundaries. Once you know the actual job, once you know what gets the result, you can start to ask what can be eliminated, what deserves my best energy. It's not that the mule's afraid of hard work. The mule simply refuses to confuse unnecessary suffering with commitment. The horse proves its value by carrying every load it's given. The mule proves its value by knowing which load should be carried in the first. People who benefit from your inability to say no will almost always dislike the new version of you that is working on boundaries, and that's just gonna have to be the way it is. It's gonna be a tough time. If you have built part of your life around being that person, when you start setting those boundaries, people start wondering. They come out of the woodwork. Here you're not, blah, blah, blah. Here you were on the golf course at 3:00, blah, blah, blah. Well, hey, if my work's done, good for me, right? I mean, if that was one of my employees, I'd be jealous. Hey, what are you doing to free up that time? Because your number's good. As long as you're doing A, B, C, and D, and you don't have a job where you physically have to be in a place, and hey, good on you, right? I'm proud of you. Give me some lessons. Let me learn a thing or two. All right, that'll put business to bed. Thanks for sticking around.
All right, Birmingham, it's your time to tee it up indoors. Qualify August 18th through the 21st for the inaugural Birmingham Indoor Open, individual stroke play, flexible tee times, and a $500 championship prize. Then gather your crew for the Big Rooster Scramble. Qualify August the 4th through September 4th. The top 3 teams advance, and one leaves swing away as the Big Cock champions. Book now.
All right, welcome back to the Clubhouse Podcast. Charlie Bolak here. We're talking about boundaries. Parenthood will take everything you're willing to give it. There's always something else that needs to be done. Another meal, another bath, another mess, another appointment, another bedtime, another problem that can't wait. And because you love your family, it's easy to believe that love means never reaching your limit. A good father should always be available. A good husband should never need time alone. A good parent should never become frustrated. Provider should work as long as necessary, then come home willing to give whatever. What happens when there's nothing left? What happens when work, parenting, responsibilities, and everyone else's needs consume every part of you? I mean, eventually exhaustion turns into irritation. Irritation turns into resentment, and resentment begins leaking out around the people you're exhausting yourself to serve. A healthy boundary may sound like this. I need 30 minutes before we talk about this. I need some sleep. I need time with your mom. I love you, but the answer is still no. Those statements don't mean, you love your family less. They may be what allows you to love your family better. The goal is not to escape the responsibility. The goal is to prevent responsibility from swallowing your entire identity. Your family doesn't need a father who can be ridden until he collapses. They need a father who knows how to stop, recover, and return. We spend a lot of time teaching children to obey, and they need to learn obedience, responsibility, and respect, but they also need to learn that they're allowed to be recognized when something is unsafe, inappropriate, or beyond their limits. We shouldn't raise children who believe being good means giving everyone unrestricted access to them. I mean, hey, ask why. I don't have a problem with that. We teach them to be generous without being easily manipulated, helpful without being used, kind without being defenseless, hardworking without believing their value depends entirely on what they can produce for other people. The mule is not rude simply because it refuses to walk off a cliff, and a child's not disrespectful simply because they learn how to clearly and appropriately say no. The horse keeps giving until there's nothing left. The mule understands that the rest is not separate from the work. The rest is part of what makes tomorrow's work possible. If you can't stop and take some of that off, then the version of you that your family is getting is not the version of you that your family deserves. So take the time for yourself. Find a way to squeeze in golf. That is why Swing Away Golf Club exists, because I found a way to put golf in my basement and play 18 holes in 45 minutes instead of 3 hours. Now we've moved to a house without a basement, so golf is at Swing Away Golf Club. It's still 10 minutes down the road, and I can still play in under an hour. That's what we have to do to make these things work. We have to find ways of keeping our identity. If we're workaholics, we still have to, be our own person. If we're parenting multiple children as hard as we can for as long as we can, we still have to have a place to go to have a retreat or relax, a few deep breaths, so that we can be the person we want to be. Because I can promise you from personal experience, when you're worn out, when you're overtired, you're frustrated, you are not putting out what your family deserves as a version of yourself. All right, let's take a break. We'll take it to golf and take it home. And remember, if you hear somebody saying they're learning to be a mule, give them a thumbs up.
Great golf brings people together. At Swing Away Golf Club, the experience is built for golfers and everyone who comes with them. Experience North America's only mechanically actuated virtual green with ball tracking by PuttView, paired with Full Swing Pro 2.0 simulators trusted by Tiger Woods and John Ram. Every swing is captured, every shot is real, and every putt reacts exactly like it would on the course. Serious golfers can dial in their game with tour-level feedback and unmatched realism. And for friends and family, Swing Away offers a comfortable, welcoming space with great food, a full-service bar, and fun, interactive experiences that make it easy for anyone to just jump in and enjoy the moment. Play iconic courses from around the world, share the experience together, and enjoy a place where competition, connection, and atmosphere all come together. Swing Away Golf Club. Practice, play, win.
All right, folks, thanks for sticking around. Let's bring it home to golf. And this was really the easiest one. And when I was thinking about my golf game, that's where the whole idea of the boundaries episode came from. The horse just beats the balls. The mule trains. The horse is the golfer who goes to the driving range, buys the largest bucket, and just starts hitting and hitting and hitting. No plan, no target, no defined goal, no real breaks between shots, hits once badly, immediately pulls, another ball over. So again, rinse, repeat. 200 balls, $100, hours and hours later. He feels like he worked hard, and technically he did. He invested time, he spent money, he burned energy. He may even stay longer than everyone else, but it's not the same as improving more. The horse measures the session by how many balls he hit. The mule arrives with boundaries. He may only have 45 minutes. He may limit himself to 60 balls. He may decide before the session, working on a specific movement, a ball flight, or a scoring problem. He warms up, he chooses a target, goes through his routine, pauses between shots. One thing that really stuck with me, hearing, I think it was Rory, it might have been Scotty Scheffler, talk about playing the first few holes on the range, before they go out on a course. So, driver down to the wedge, where you're going to hit your shot, your first shot, your second shot, into the green, and it is amazing to me the amount of study that would take. I couldn't just go out and visualize hole and my ball. I guess, of course, I've played more than any other in my life is Bentbrook just up the road there. And if you ask me to walk through, you know, the 9 holes of Brook in my head, I could do it. But there's, you know, I'm sure there's details I'd miss. Like number one, if I remember right, is a pretty much straight. Then you have to hit it left to get into a right angle. Or at one point there was a tree. I don't think the tree is there anymore, but there is a lake. And, you know, but for them to be able to week in and week out, put that recording of those couple of holes in there, go out to the range, play those shots. And we don't know. I mean, heck, if I was playing Augusta, I you know, and I knew it was coming up, 6 out of 10 shots that I ever hit would have to have that in my mind, in the back of your head. You're going to play Augusta. This could be this hole. Now, I don't know that course well enough, but if you did, imagine the effort that it takes to do that. Imagine the brain power, the computing effort, as we were talking about the processing power on the mistakes episode. It's incredible to think about. So when the mule is on the driving range, he may spend part of the session just on wedges, you know, part on approach shots, part on simulated holes like we just talked about. When the quality of the work begins to decline, he stops. He takes a rest. He may call it, say, hey, my brain's just had enough. Or maybe he's going to run to the grill, you know, have a soft drink and a bag of chips, kind of relax, get that, you know, game back in the head space and reapproach it. You know, to the horse, that looks lazy. The horse might think, well, hell, I hit 250 balls. He only hit 60. The mule didn't go to the range to prove how long he could stay there. You know, he went to the range to work on his golf game. His goal of being there was to become a better golfer, as opposed to just get out there and hit balls. I mean, the horse's goal was to hit balls. The mule's limited time forces him to make decisions. If he only has 45 minutes, he can't waste them, you know, mindlessly hitting the same club. If he has 60 balls, every shot needs a purpose. The boundary creates focus. The boundary forces him to decide what matters. The boundary turns practice from activity into training. You know, that golfer may ultimately become a better golfer while spending less time and money, you know, because he's maximizing these efforts, you know, inside the boundary instead of removing every boundary and wasting effort. The horse beats balls, the mule trains. The horse practices till he's exhausted. The mule practices until the useful work is complete. Golf improvement requires repetition. It requires discomfort. It requires patience and hard work. The mule is not looking for a shortcut that avoids the work. He's looking for the most effective way to do the work. There's a difference between productive repetition and mindless repetition. Once fatigue changes your posture, grip, tempo, decision making, you may no longer be training the swing you intended to build. You may be rehearsing compensations. I injured my back. It's been about a year ago now. I pulled a muscle or something. I don't know exactly what it was, but it hurt. And it changed my golf swing. And it was right as we were getting in here, so I was hitting a lot of balls. Thankfully, Coach Jerry, one of the early on PGA guys that was hanging around here, recognized it and said, hey, is your back still bothering you? I was like, no. He said, well, then you need to basically got me back to where I was before then, because I had just been mindlessly tailoring my swing to where it didn't hurt, and instead adding bad habits and wondering why everything's going left. You can teach yourself to swing badly while you're just outbeating balls. You know, it's at that point, hitting more balls actually makes the session worse. It makes you a worse golfer. I mean, walking away is not always quitting. I wish I could learn that if I go to Vegas, but that's a show for a different day. Walking away, there may be the disciplined decision that protects the good work you already completed. The horse also believes improvement happens almost entirely through full swings. The mule understands golf is bigger than the driving range. He practices putting. He works on his wedges. He learns his actual carry distances. He studies course management, practices uncomfortable lies, learns when not to attack a flag. He works on his body, his balance, his mobility, his mental approach. He may play 9 holes with a specific goal rather than hitting. To the mule, it just makes sense. He learns his distances. He studies course management. You know, he practices the uncomfortable lies. and knows when to green light a flag and when not to. He works on body balance, mobility, and even his mental approach. And I'm just getting into that. I had no idea how deep it went. And man, it really neat to learn, but also it's one of those where you learn a little bit and it teaches you how much you don't know and how much you have left to learn. So at 44, I'm pretty behind on the mental game. So that's going to be a big focus of mine moving forward. Back to the horse and the mule, though. The horse may have a prettier range swing, but I'd be willing to guarantee that if the mule doesn't post a better score, the mule is improving more rapidly than the horse. The horse says, look how much effort I gave. The mule, he's not less dedicated. He's more disciplined. It's one or the other, right? You can do it one way, you can do it the other. I'm going to go ahead and tell you I'd give odds on the mule's way being a little bit better than the horse's.
We've really built a world-class golf facility here in Birmingham, Alabama. From the 16-foot wide bays to the real Italian leather bar stools, we designed this place with luxury in mind, and I don't think we missed. So whether you're looking to level up your game, have a fun, relaxing evening, or test yourself in one of our leagues or tournaments, do yourself a favor and take a short drive up Lake Shore to experience it for yourself, because I promise you one thing, Swing Away Golf Club is the place to be. Conveniently located off of Lake Shore Drive at 100 Frankfurt Circle, next to Overtime. We look forward to seeing you soon. Practice, play, win.
There is a cost to setting boundaries. Some people won't like it. They may call you selfish. They may call you difficult. They may say you're no longer a team player or accuse you of not caring like you used to. But it's worth asking, are they upset because you're no longer dependable, or are they upset because you're no longer controllable? There are people who genuinely need your help. There are also people who simply prefer the version of you that never made them hear the word no. You have to learn the difference. A person with no boundaries is easy to manage. A person with boundaries requires a relationship. You have to communicate with them. You have to respect them. You have to consider their capacity. You have to ask rather than command and earn their cooperation instead of assuming compliance. That's why the mule gets called difficult. They require the handler to pay attention. At the same time, calling yourself a mule can't become an excuse for avoiding responsibility. A boundary is not an excuse to stop work whenever you want. It's not only doing what you feel like. The mule still carries the load. The mule still works. The mule still crosses difficult terrain. The entire point is that the mule's work ethic is at least as strong as the horse's, and possibly stronger, because its effort can be repeated day after day. A healthy boundary protects responsibility. An excuse avoids it. The difference is whether the boundary helps you fulfill your commitments more effectively or just merely gives you permission to abandon them. The mule does not refuse every load. It refuses the load that's unsafe, unreasonable, or someone else's responsibility to carry. What is the actual job that needs to be done? Am I producing a result or merely a visible effort? Is this genuinely my responsibility? Is this urgent, or has somebody else simply waited too long? Those are the questions to ask to determine who's the mule. Are you the mule? Am I the mule? Are we the mule? Maybe we're all mules. Why they call me a jackass.
All right, Birmingham, it's your time to tee it up indoors. Qualify August 18th through the 21st for the inaugural Birmingham Indoor Open. Individual stroke play, flexible tee times, and a $500 championship prize. Then gather your crew for the Big Rooster Scramble. Qualify August the 4th through September 4th. The top 3 teams advance, and one leaves Swing Away as the Big Cock champions. Book now.
There's nothing wrong with being hardworking. There's nothing wrong with being dependable. In fact, it's expected. There's nothing wrong with carrying a heavy load when the situation calls for it. But your willingness to work doesn't mean the world's entitled to every ounce of it. You don't have to answer every call. You don't have to accept every opportunity or solve every problem or hit every ball in the bucket. The horse will keep moving as long as somebody's applying pressure. The mule decides whether the next step's worth taking. It doesn't make the mule lazy. It makes the mule aware. It knows the load. It knows the terrain. It knows its own limits. And because it knows when to stop. It may ultimately travel farther than the animal that never learned how. In business, boundaries help us direct our effort towards work that actually matters. In parenting, boundaries allow us to give our families love without allowing exhaustion turn into resentment, or at least exhaustion turn us into a grouch that nobody wants to be around, right? You may not resent anybody. You may just be so tired you can't be pleasant to be around. Golf, boundaries turn into endless repetition, into intentional training. A horse beats balls until the bucket's just gone, empty. The mule stops when the work is complete. The horse proves how much it can endure. The mule just wants to focus on what it can accomplish. Maybe the goal is not to become less hardworking. Maybe the goal is to become more deliberate, more intentional. Work hard, carry the load, show up for your people, and do the difficult things, but know what belongs on your back. Know when the work has stopped being productive. Know when is enough is enough. People may call you stubborn. They may call you difficult. They'll probably even call you lazy. Let them. The mule will do the work. It just won't die proving that it can. I'm Charlie Bolak. This has been the Clubhouse. Thanks for sticking around. We'll see you next time. And remember, being a jackass isn't always a bad thing. See you next time.
Something that's not talked about enough in the industry is
You get burned out.
You're a pretty screwed up individual that is unbelievably buttoned up and put together.
that was something that happened to me.
We are all human beings.
I actually have a chance now to understand how to be a better parent.
You don't have to talk to a person to get your whole job site off the ground and going.
My daughter, she can sniff out the AI instantly.
They're not your country.
I told Anna, I was like, we're going to see real quick who runs a good restaurant.
Doesn't matter if it's golf or cooking, you will get results when you love what you do.
This is Live on the Clubhouse with Charlie Bolak.
Here's what people don't tell you about leveling up. If you want to move from this to this, you got to do a whole lot of work in between like this. You got to keep these places up to keep them ready. A lot of people pay for it, but if you want to have your money working for you, it's elbow grease, baby. Are you ready? If you value hard work, enjoy golf, and want to hear about leveling up, moving, parenting, stuff that I have real world experience with, give us a listen at the Clubhouse Podcast. Find us on YouTube or Spotify today. And as always, come and see us at Swing Away Golf Club. Practice, play, win.
Something that's not talked about enough in the industry is
You get burned out.
You're a pretty screwed up individual that is unbelievably buttoned up and put together.
that was something that happened to me.
We are all human beings.
I actually have a chance now to understand how to be a better parent.
You don't have to talk to a person to get your whole job site off the ground and going.
My daughter, she can sniff out the AI instantly.
They're not your country.
I told Anna, I was like, we're going to see real quick who runs a good restaurant.
Doesn't matter if it's golf or cooking, you will get results when you love what you do.
This is Live on the Clubhouse with Charlie Bolak.
Howdy, folks. Charlie Bolak here, founder of Swing Away Golf Club and host of the Clubhouse Podcast. We appreciate you joining us. We got a great show today. It's all about leveling up. We're going to connect it to all three phases. We'll be right back. Stick around.
Great golf brings people together. At Swing Away Golf Club, the experience is built for golfers and everyone who comes with them. Experience North America's only mechanically actuated virtual green with ball tracking by PuttView, paired with Full Swing Pro 2.0 simulators trusted by Tiger Woods and John Ram. Every swing is captured, every shot is real, and every putt reacts exactly like it would on the course. Serious golfers can dial in their game with tour-level feedback and unmatched realism. And for friends and family, Swing Away offers a comfortable, welcoming space with great food, a full-service bar, and fun, interactive experiences that make it easy for anyone to just jump in and enjoy the moment. Play iconic courses from around the world, share the experience together, and enjoy a place where competition, connection, and atmosphere all come together. Swing Away Golf Club. Practice, play, win.
Welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. Everybody says they want to level up in life. Everybody says it looks great from here. The grass is always greener type thing, but you're just switching one set of problems for another. Once you upgrade, in fact, you get more problems, but what helps you out and what prepares you for it is you've learned and adapted and figured out how to manage the set of current problems, because you can't get rid of everything. You know, you can minimize some, you can master some. There's still problems, issues, you know, there's still something you have to manage. You have to think about that. Some of your bandwidth goes to managing these items. So once you've gotten good enough there and you're ready for that level up, let's talk about what happens next. You know, you're waiting for your kids to get older, but that just changes. You might not be changing diapers, but, you know, you're staying up and watching Ring cameras and setting alarms and making sure they're not sneaking out of the house. I was good at that one, by the way. You know, there's just so many different things going on in today's world. Let's dive in. Let's talk about it. All right, getting into it. Today's theme, leveling up. We're going to hit it three ways. We're going to talk about business, climbing the ladder from sales to management. That was kind of a reference point I can draw on from my career, but please, you know, we can translate it to any kind of career as we're talking through this. So take my outline of what you hear and don't follow it as gold, but follow how to apply it to your life. And let's talk about how it affects business, climbing the ladder, parenting, break points. You know, with three young boys, I know I'm coming up on a break point when I get my youngest out of diaper, and then I think I'll get a little bit back when they can feed themselves and as they become more independent adults. But again, as we talked about earlier, that's just going to bring another set of challenges. Now that I've mastered these, maybe not mastered, let me stop right there. Now that we've learned how to manage these challenges, we're ready for a new set, right? It's going to bring it up. And then golf, right? You know, my personal, journey right now is, as I'm aging, my swing speed is slowing down a little bit. I'm mid-40s, so, enough that I'm within sight of the senior tour. So, it changes your perspective on things. It changes how you deal with things, and it changes your golf equipment. So let's talk about how we can do that without chasing fixes that don't work or breaking the bank. Stick around. All right, folks, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you made it this long, you notice change of outfit here. Shirt's gone. Everything seems a little bit different. It's the next day. So as I was trying to wrap up the segment on golf leveling up, I think we'd gotten to equipment. A guy walked in that a really good guy, one of our first. In fact, I think he was our first corporate member, and really great guy. We appreciate him here. And so we talked for about an hour, and just the day had progressed to the point to where I couldn't get back into it. But I was talking with Anna last night. It was one of the rare nights where we actually had time to sit around for, I don't know, probably 30 minutes. Both of us were exhausted, but enough was done that we were able to get in bed. So we just wanted to catch up for a few minutes, and we were talking about kind of the show and our days. And we got into it. I said, just what a great topic it was, and how, it relates to everything we've got going on right now with, the business, moving house, consolidating by getting rid of some toys and things to make this move for the house. And leveling up is just something that it's a natural progression in life for those who want it, but it's not for everybody, right? It's not everybody wants that next level of house, that next level of car, that next level of bag. And I was talking to Chase. He's like me. He's kind of, we're very driven people. We're willing to put in the work. We know what it's going to take. We're discussing, the difference in the type of guys that we feel like we are versus, the people that have found their happy place. And not that we're not happy. So this is something that he and I, laid out and went very in depth in. And I so wish he would have let me record it, or we would have been sitting here. We were actually sitting at a table right over there. And it's a hard truth. There's just some people that are willing to work more to get more. And it's funny, he and I at this point look at it as kind of, a character flaw in ourselves. ourselves that were relatively, materialistic people or materialistic enough to. Anna's getting pretty close these days. I'd put myself at a 60 here and easily another 25, 30 around the house. So I don't know where that 80-hour figure comes from, but the people who want these things that are willing to put in the work are the ones who are going to get to level up, and the ones that sit around thinking that it's going to come to them, man. I mean, it's just a hard truth. I'm sorry, it's not going to. Some people will buy a lottery ticket and win, and if that's you, great. That's awesome. I still buy my tickets. I still convince myself I'm going to win every time. But at this point, at 45 years old, I realize that half my chance of winning it is gone already anyway. So it keeps it in perspective for me. Even though, I did the same thing with Swingaway. We've said a couple shows ago, I think it was the time management episode when I was talking, I thought by now I'd have the place staffed. I'd be not, on a private yacht ready to sail away into my anonymity. But, I definitely would have thought my days would be more filled back on the consulting side, back in the equipment game, rather than taking over social media, spending my days cutting, editing videos, playing golf. Now, the golf is wonderful. But I will tell you, for every episode of Lunch Hour Golf Podcast that you see come across, I think most of them I cut down in under 20 minutes, or I think it's 13 is about where they're coming out, 13 to 15, unless we have like a talking session, and then you'll see 18 or something like that. But for that 18-minute clip, I play for right about an hour, stretch, loosen up, 15, 20 minutes. And then once it's done, I mean, you're talking, depending on how in-depth I could go, I mean, you could edit these things for hours and hours. I think to get that rough product that you're seeing right now on YouTube, I'm probably spending a total of 4 hours, to get that 18 minutes of content. Now we are able to get some pretty good shorts out of it, and that's been really fun. I'm one of those metric heads, like we talked about when I had Salesforce. I could look up, I could see my revenue numbers. Well, now I've got analytics on 5 platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, going from your one analytics or your one revenue sales screen, whatever you want to talk about, however you want to relate it. Imagine looking at that one screen and then going to 5 of them. I mean, now the one was great. Because you got it all right there. Now you got little slivers here, and then you got Facebook here where I'm doing pretty good. You got YouTube here, I'm doing pretty good. But TikTok, we're kind of up and down. Instagram, still don't really understand any of these algorithms. But, it's been fun. I love doing it. People's responses have been great. We're going to have Ryan Wilhoit, Kool-Aid, joining us. So we're gonna do Kool-Aid and High C. That's gonna be the Lunch Hour Podcast, or Lunch Hour Golf Podcast. He's gonna join us when we can. We're still gonna have as many guests as we can, but it's great to have somebody signed on to be a part of all this, because there's nights I'll edit these things till midnight, on top of the kids, on top of the business, on top of getting the house ready to sell, selling the river, getting, the inspections on the new house and all this. I mean, it's just, life is a process. A level up is, if you're doing it right. Now, I have stumbled into level ups before, and just kind of, like we said yesterday, and that'll be somewhere in this show. So it'll be, if it's not before this part, then it's good foreshadowing. If it's not, then I guess it's good tying it back in together. But so amazing to go through these different level ups, because at this level up now I have the experience from my last level up. So I learned specifically, I'm getting better at negotiating home sales. I feel like our first one was an off-market purchase that the real estate agent had brought us in on, and so we didn't get as much of the negotiating because the lady was like, "Hey, I'll put it on the market," and it was a gamble on her part, but we truly, even historically looking back, where we're probably proven right at this point, we knew that if it hit the market, we couldn't get it. So we were willing to take that place of a lesser bargaining power because we liked the house. And from there, we learned negotiating from that spot, and to when we sold it, we didn't have to do anything because we were in now the spot. And we sold it on the market. It still sat for a week. We knew it was a desirable area. We knew it was an affordable price. We knew the house was in impeccable shape. 113 years old. We spent 4 or 5 years just basically going down our inspection and leveling up the house, putting a roof on, leveling up the house, garbage disposal, leveling up, changing the toilet, leveling up, things you're not going to see a direct return. You can't say, hey, I sold this house because I put in $500 worth of toilets. I got an extra $50,000 in the house. That's not quite linear, but what you can say is it improves the saleability of a home, meaning, if somebody's in this house that I'm asking $500,000 for, they're going to find less things wrong if they look in, they see a new toilet. They open up under the sink and see a new garbage disposal. They see a new roof on the house. They see the garden well maintained. There's no direct link to say, hey, this aspect added this much value to my house. But you can say that there is a correlation. We don't know what it is, where it is, why it is even, although, the why is internal. You just know there's enough people out there that why makes sense to, that's a good why, but there's no way to assign a value to it. So you just have to take these things on understanding or on faith, if you will. And that's been a fun part of leveling up to kind of play with it. And I know we're just kind of running through the topics of this entire show that we filmed, 98% of yesterday. And I just wanted, at first I was just going to come in and wrap it up, but it's just, it's been such a close topic to what I'm going through and what I've been through in every, basically aspect that we talk about, our career on the business side, our family on the parenthood side, and our, even on the golf, there is still a leveling up component. I've still gone through it. Like I said, I've only once in my life bought brand new irons, and the time I did, I'm pleased with them. Not saying Club Champion did me wrong, but I still, in retrospect, I had no business buying or playing blades for the years that I did. A proper, cavity back or more forgiving club would have fit my life, my game better, even though, I swing into it. I fit, quote unquote, into it. So, leveling up is just such a relatable topic, and don't see where I'm at now and say, hey, I'll never get there if you're younger. Now I will say I was going through my demographics the other day, and we're 96% male, and as well as think of that 96% male, 34 to 52 is somewhere near 80%. So one of the highest examples of hitting your demographic that you'll ever see. Now, it's golf. We talk about, golf, parenthood, things like that. Not saying that women aren't interested. I'm just saying that I'm hitting my demographic, and I would love to have more females. And hey, I tell you what, women, I've been trying to get my wife on here forever. We even shot like a little test episode, and it was fantastic. But getting her and I together in good clothes, or good enough clothes, apparently, it's such a task that we just haven't gotten there yet, but we will, and we'll have fun with it. So let's see. Is there anything else I want to wrap up from the show yesterday? I think just that little bit of golf that we just talked kind of wraps up what I was talking about when Chase got here. And I'll probably, as I'm editing this, I may come back and add something maybe as a voiceover, or maybe you'll get to see a third outfit. I really only have about 6 or 7 of these shirts. So, never know what day it is. We might be going back and adding B-roll. I guess you could tell by my hair, it gets longer every episode. We are going to do an episode with Donald Charbonnet, Elliot Vigil, myself, the one and only Kool-Aid. Kind of go over a state of the industry kind of thing. You know, Elliot brings a very interesting perspective of the industry from the general rental, aerial, big box type sales and sales leadership and sales training. And he's so good at it, man. I tell you, the one thing, even going back and editing the videos or the times that it's kind of popped up as I was reviewing playlists and I've listened to segments of it. I mean, the way he's so clear, concise, you know, just loquacious with his wording and timing. It's just, I mean, he's obviously got a ton of experience. He's done a lot of this, has some good coaching of his own that he's received and that he's able to pass on and he's able to bring to the show. I mean, man, I mean, just one of the easiest flowing conversations I've ever had. So Elliot, and then Donald Charbonnet, man, that episode was fun. I mean, what a guy, what a story, what a history, and what a valuable set of experiences and perspective that he can bring to the show. So, I mean, man, we'll start teasing this now, and look, it could be a while. We're in the process of setting schedules. So, you know, to get us all aligned, first of all, and then to get all the stuff downloaded, uploaded, edited, cut, posted, it could be a month. I mean, shoot, you never know. They may come back and say, let's do it Monday. I get it edited. It could be next week. I would not count on that, but hopefully we'll tease it for a couple weeks. Then we'll start dropping clips, and then eventually someday we will have a show with those guys. And man, thank y'all so much for being a part of the journey, joining. We made some posts today. Our social media is just doing wonderful. YouTube, both podcasts, the Lunch Hour Golf, the Clubhouse, really gaining some traction. Still really working hard to recruit guests. So if anybody's interested, Chase Luzon, Mark Hunter, some of you guys, check us out. It's it's a good time. I love doing these things. My tech is such that we're really good on the off sites, but we love doing in person too. So if you ever find yourself in Birmingham, 90% of the time I'm here. I mean, it's me, my wife, and but we're back down to one employee, Jamal, who's, man, he's just been the sun and the moon, and Alex, is going to come in when he can, but his real estate business is really taking off. So if you got corporate real estate to sell, come get one of Alex's cards from our networking wall. He's a great dude. Still a great friend of the show, a friend of the business, and will come in much. But at the end of the day, it's just me, Anna, Jamal, sometimes my father-in-law if we're really in a pinch. But come see us, man. I mean, walk in, we'll fire it up, we'll do a show, we'll go live, we can cut it, edit it, however you want to do it, but come see us. Hey, thanks so much.
Great golf brings people together. At Swing Away Golf Club, the experience is built for golfers and everyone who comes with them. Experience North America's only mechanically actuated virtual green with ball tracking by PuttView, paired with Full Swing Pro 2.0 simulators trusted by Tiger Woods and John Ram. Every swing is captured, every shot is real, and every putt reacts exactly like it would on the course. Serious golfers can dial in their game with tour-level feedback and unmatched realism. And for friends and family, Swing Away offers a comfortable, welcoming space with great food, a full-service bar, and fun, interactive experiences that make it easy for anyone to just jump in and enjoy the moment. Play iconic courses from around the world, share the experience together, and enjoy a place where competition, connection, and atmosphere all come together. Swing Away Golf Club. Practice, play, win.
All right, folks, taking it into our first topic here, business. Leveling up is not about getting more. It's becoming becoming capable of doing more. There we go. I got it out. And it's, it's important because, like we talked about earlier, that's the only way you're going to get to the next level. I had a boss one time recommend a book, and it wasn't my favorite, but it was, there were definitely good points. It's called What Got You Here Won't Get You There, and it's basically I don't remember if it was written directly for salespeople who'd gotten into more of a management role, or I don't even remember if it was ops management versus sales leadership. But you get the gist of what got you to that point, what got you the promotion in the first place is not the set of skills that are going to take you to the next level, right? If you're journeying to a C-suite position and you started out, take my history. You started out as inside sales. You get in, you learn the computer system, learn a little bit about the equipment, and then you go to an outside sales role. Which I think they had me split as a sales associate for a few months, an hourly position, into a salaried outside sale commission rep. So you follow those progressions, and then you have that stop at the outside sales, and that's really performance based. You can tell by the metrics how these people are doing. Now there are exceptions, obviously. I've seen guys really out there working that weren't weren't given the proper time to kind of grow something. But generally, for the most part, an established rep or an established territory, either one, you're going to get good enough trackable numbers to know if they're sleeping till 10 and back home by 2, or if they're out there grinding. So. From taking that all in and from being the standout sales rep, the one who is crushing district numbers, is beating plan, is doing all the things that are expected of an outside sales rep, then that promotion opens up. Hey, you're the perfect candidate. All right, so you have now leveled up. Right. And what do we do now? Right. So what has changed? Well, first of all, and most glaringly, we've gone from the individual contributor level to the next level, the level of kind of a middle management type, where you're responsible for direct reports. People's career kind of hinge on some of the things that you do, and you can. Related a lot to the military these days, in the corporate world anyway, with efficiency reports is huge in the military, and now you have the annual reviews, and a lot of these engagement type firms are driving for quarterly reviews, feedback upon demand, because you do have those employees that need to hear a little more often than others that hey, you're doing a good job, we appreciate you. I remember looking at all those different personality tests and things when you're hiring. It says, hey, these people have a higher need of someone to praise them, or this guy's real independent. You just help him when he asks, but otherwise stay out of his way. And that's one of the things that was tough to me, learning to take a step back out of that individual contributor role, because it was always me, see problem, fix problem, customer happy, yay. And that was my calculus for everything that I did. And before I got into that leadership role, and I always said, my stop at United was more of a sales leadership than operations, even though, your 9 to 5 was the sales leadership. Your, 5 and after was keeping those operations tight, making sure nothing slipped through the cracks, keeping your inspections up, your scores, things like that. It just becomes so much more at that level. And, one of the perspectives I have taken away was not holding other people to those, high performer standards, as we talked about, I think it was on the stress management episode with Anna, how intentional she is with things like that. You have to be that type of person to be successful, not necessarily to make it to middle management, but to have that drive in the first place to move up. you have to have that perspective, that thought process, that willingness to conquer and not let anything get in your way. But ultimately, the ones who are able to, again, as they take that next step, see the new challenges, adjust to them, make their life fit the new challenges, and it's not always, work takes precedence, family fits here. As I've learned over the years, if one's pushing too hard, if one life force is pushing too hard, and one is getting pushed, away farther from where your happiness demands that it be, it kind of leaves you off center in life, off kilter a little bit, and kind of, leads you to a reset, right? You're not going to be happy in that role. You're not going to be happy in that phase of your family life. You're not going to be happy in that phase of your relationship with your spouse. So, balancing those factors, whatever they may be for you, is critical as we hit these break points, these level ups, these various stops upon life's journey. It's okay to hit your ceiling, right? It's okay to say, okay, I've gotten here. I'm good with this, right? I don't want to keep clawing, grinding, fighting to get to the next level. I don't see a value or a benefit to my life. Again, I said early on in one of the shows with Brandon Kane that I admire the people. I know several that have just reached a point in their life. They have enough. They're happy. Don't mess with them outside of designated work time, because that's given over to family or hunting or whatever it is, that passion that they have that's blocked, the desire to go farther with work, to build a bigger bank account, to retire earlier. That good on them, really. I mean, to have found happiness and contentment. I wonder how long I'll search for it, and the things I'll have to sacrifice in my life to get to where I feel driven to be. It's kind of like Elon Musk said. It's the people that are going to do it, don't mind the 80-hour weeks. They don't mind, constantly feeling a little bit tired. They don't mind that their biggest challenge is how to keep their, body, mental, wits about them so they can work more. And there are people that are driven to do just that, and I admire them too. That takes a certain type of person. I don't think I'll ever be that guy either, to go to the other side of it. You see about the business people that are up at 3 a.m., trading yen, speaking Japanese on a cell phone in the middle of the night, pacing. There are people that make a lot of money doing that, and there are people that absolutely thrive in that type of pressure situation. And man, good on them. That they found their thing. They're marching their path, right? It's a fun journey. It's a fun thought process to go down that road, kind of like buying lottery tickets and convincing yourself you're going to win. I mean, I know I did with this place. I mean, if you would have asked me before I opened, a year in, where would I be? This place would be staffed, and I'm, maybe not on a private island somewhere, but, I'm taking a little mini vacation with my family, or doing something that the success of Swing Away, or immediate success of Swing Away, has allowed me to do a lot quicker than will actually be the case if it does turn out to be at all. But again, if this happens to be a little bit of a financial loss to have learned all the lessons that I've learned and picked up all the, connections, relationships, knowledge, worth every penny, whatever that penny turns out to be. All right, well, I think we pretty much hit leveling up in the business world about as hard as we could. Now let's take it home to the personal side. Stick around. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Clubhouse Podcast here with Charlie Bolak. We are talking about leveling up. We just hit the business segment, really, I've really thoroughly enjoyed this topic because, it relates to what we're doing right now, right? Well, it relates to everything I'm trying to do, with Bolak Business Consulting, with Swing Away Golf Club, with the relationships we're building and the foundations that we're laying for something that could hopefully ultimately go a long way. This is something I want to give to my kids one day. Maybe not Swing Away. Enjoying it would sell the golf business, but the heavy equipment side of it is, my kids have been on job sites. My 14-month-old, I just took a picture of him on a wastewater job site with me the other day, and have pictures of both my older ones, back in that time of their life. So to hand them something, not hand, okay, all right, but that's a topic for a different day. To give them the opportunity to earn something that I built is, I would think most fathers' dreams, right? That's if I can do it, right? And I tell you what, I'm willing to put in the work. As we've talked about, these 16, 18, 20-hour days, some days, not all at Swing Away, not all in Bolak Business Consulting, not all at the house. But when you add it all up, it's there's just so much going on, and I know it's only going to get faster as my kids get older. So, laying the foundation now is a gamble that I'm willing to take to have more time in the future to spend with my family. It may work, it may not. We'll see. All right, so breakpoints. Breakpoints with respect to parenting, breakpoints in your relationship with your spouse, breakpoints career-wise. I think we've hit that. But what we can do is kind of pull it back into the general conversation of parenting, of life management. It all ties together because everything influences everything else. Just the way it could all flow together when it needs to. All right, so we're getting back into it here. The break points. What are the break points you've been to, right, or through to this point? A 6-year-old special needs. There's different break points as he develops. Differently than the other boys. But I'll tell you, the first big break point with Teddy was Well, I don't know. So I was going to say getting them out of diapers, but really when they can just start holding their own bottle, liquids, formula, whatever you're feeding them, man, I tell you that was huge for Leah, for all three of them, really. I mean, not having to just sit there, hold them, give them the bottle. I was rushing that one. I love my kids, but I'm so type A. I do not like being in one spot for long at all. I'm up, I pace, and sitting there, giving your kid a bottle. Outside of the staring down at them and just looking at them and enjoying that part of it, there's only so long you can do that. And you're like, hey, I got to do something. I got to work. I got to do this. I got to do that. Grass needs to be cut. It never stops. And maybe I'm guilty of not drinking it in enough, because I do genuinely believe, now that. We pretty much admit that, well, not admit, we pretty much have decided that our 15-month-old will be our last kid. So you do want to catch as many of those little moments as you can and not feel pressured or pushed around those last little bits of time. So let's see. What's the next break point? Baby starts walking, toddler starts climbing, 4-year-old testing every rule. Testing my patience. I came up with a good one the other day. I said, you know what? Patience is a muscle, and mine's sore, boy. Or mine's getting sore, or something like that. I thought that was a good one. I'm finding new little ways. It's, I guess, what do you call them? Veiled threats, vague threats, random. No, you can't say random threats. But just getting the message across that, hey, bud, the end of this test is near. I promise. Either you're going to end it or I'm going to.
Great golf brings people together. At Swing Away Golf Club, the experience is built for golfers and everyone who comes with them. Experience North America's only mechanically actuated virtual green with ball tracking by PuttView, paired with Full Swing Pro 2.0 simulators trusted by Tiger Woods and John Ram. Every swing is captured, every shot is real, and every putt reacts exactly like it would on the course. Serious golfers can dial in their game with tour-level feedback and unmatched realism. And for friends and family, Swing Away offers a comfortable, welcoming space with great food, a full-service bar, and fun interactive experiences that make it easy for anyone to just jump in and enjoy the moment. Play iconic courses from around the world, share the experience together, and enjoy a place where competition, connection, and atmosphere all come together. Swing Away Golf Club. Practice, play, win.
All right, and we're back here talking about break points here. I apologize for the delay. So we were getting into, the next round of break points. But again, dealing with the overarching theme of leveling up, even as you're at the break point, or what your next break point is, and relatively reasonably when to expect it, you don't always see the next round of challenges coming. But I think if you go into it knowing that, hey, this is going to bring a new round of challenges, this is going to be, a new level of difficulty that I have not seen, then you go into it with a much better expectation when, life comes out of nowhere and just whacks you in the head, because it will. And I will tell you that's happened to me at every level up in my life. Now, sometimes it's been mistakes of mine. Sometimes it's been, just the universe, it was my time, I guess. But just know that there are other people going through the same stuff. It's, it's not easy for anybody. It really isn't. There are some people, like my wife, who walk a path. They have known forever how they were going to be, what they were going to do, how they were going to get there. And then there's folks like me who I knew where I was going, did not know how I was going to get there, and wasn't really even overly concerned about how I was going to get there because I was willing to gamble on myself, right? And say, hey, it doesn't matter where I go to get there because I'm going to work for it, right? I'm not scared to put in the hours. I'm not scared to get my hands dirty. I'm not scared to learn. And the biggest benefit in my life has always been that I've never been scared to ask for help. I think probably has something to do with being raised by a single mother. She was an RN at a hospital not a half mile from our house, and I had family 20 houses right up the road. So if my mom would work late or something like that, I'd be around the house, and if I ever got scared, I know I could walk to Sandra's. Got hungry, walk to Sandra's. I got aunts and uncles the other way too, cousins. So just never occurred to me to sit in a corner banging my head against the wall because I couldn't find a solution, because I've always been eager and willing to search out that solution by going to whoever I think has the answer and say, hey, teach me the answer. Don't tell me the answer. Let's walk me through what you're doing, how you're getting there, because I'm going to repeat that process. I'm going to apply it to my life, and I'm going to use it to find my next level up. That kind of got off the topic from parenting, but I think that topic, fatherhood can go so many different ways, because to understand the father you want to be, you got to understand the man you are, and the man you are was developed by everything it took you to get to where you are today. I'm not the same guy I was yesterday because I've learned, I've grown, I've changed, and that's why certain people will go farther in life. I mean, I hate to, say it that bluntly, blatantly, or rudely, but, you run across people in this world that, all they're willing to give is the minimum effort. I think you deserve the minimum reward if you're only willing to give the minimum effort.
Something that's not talked about enough in the industry is
You get burned out.
You're a pretty screwed up individual that is unbelievably buttoned up and put together.
that was something that happened to me.
We are all human beings.
I actually have a chance now to understand how to be a better parent.
You don't have to talk to a person to get your whole job site off the ground and going.
My daughter, she can sniff out the AI instantly.
They're not your customer.
I told Anna, I was like, we're going to see real quick who runs a good restaurant.
Doesn't matter if it's golf or cooking, you will get results when you love what you do.
This is Live on the Clubhouse with Charlie Bolak.
Thank you again for sticking around. We're going to switch on over now to golf. I think that got kind of maudlin quick there. I think we've all fallen victim to this, right? As I was, I'll take a walk through my entire golf history. So never played until I was in high school. Had some buddies that got hired on a local golf course, Bent Brook Golf Course, a couple miles from Swing Away Golf Club here in beautiful Birmingham, Alabama. I think technically they've incorporated now. They're McCalla or something like that. But got a job out there at 15 years old. Worked for about 2 weeks before they found out I meant to hang up the phone and hit stop recording. I'm glad I caught that, or we'd end up in a situation where we had a guy talking on screen and no audio. I've done that before several times. It's frustrating. All right, so here we were switching back to golf. I was going overall, kind of history of my golf. Get hired at Bent Brook Golf Course, 15 years old, couple weeks of work. I think I'd gotten one check, and it might have even been when they were processing. I think they were processing my first check, and somehow my birth date flagged as, hey, he doesn't have a driver's license. So go to pick up my check, and a fatherly arm with the director of golf. Hey, kid, sorry, we thought you were 16. You're not old enough. Come back when you are, though. And it wasn't long. It was maybe a month or two. And got my license, started working at Bent Brook, got relatively good at golf. There for I don't know, I probably worked there for a year and a half, I would say, maybe 2 years, and could play for free, and took advantage of it and played. I mean, boy, in the summers, there would be days we'd play 36, 54 holes, sun up to sundown. I mean, I was never great, right? I don't think I ever broke 80. I got close a couple times. I don't think I ever did in high school. Then on to college, couldn't afford to pay for it myself. So golf game fell into disrepair. Get out in my career, I was in a sales job in Odessa, Texas. I took my golf clubs. I hit on the range a couple times out there. But really, when I got back and got into heavy equipment, and man, my territory was doing so good. This is 2016. I had a big job at a power plant, a big job at a data center, and several good sewer bypass projects, and could justify, taking customers to play golf several times a week, because, you're throwing in these POs. So they don't care what you're out doing. You've got an increased budget for your entertaining. And so I did. I mean, I spent a lot in probably 2016, 17, maybe even up to maybe even into 18 a little bit. But then, life, business, just everything gets crazy. So, but yeah, got really back into golf, had picked up some, cheap clubs years prior just to, play here and there. But probably at that point in my life before, the heavy equipment, I couldn't have gone out and broken 100. I would have been thrilled if I did, let's put it that way. So 2016, though, that changes. We're playing a lot of golf. I'm making good money. So I go to a place called Club Champion, and they fit me there for some irons. And it wasn't a tough sell. I always wanted Mizunos. I'd never bought a new set of irons. I'd already cleared it with my wife, had my budget. So went in and get fitted, and of course fit into blades, which I did not need. I was not good enough for blades, but because the 3 shots I happened to hit with that head and that shaft combo were the best of the data points we got in the fitting, I got blades, and I kept them for years. Now I love the clubs. Nothing against Club Champion or definitely Mizuno. I still have a set of Mizunos, but they were heavy and they were blades, right? So when I went from playing as much as I was to kind of slowing it down, doing more of the family thing, having to actually work a little bit more, it went the other way. And looks like we're going to have some people coming in here. I'm going to try to wrap this segment up real quick, but I do have a lot of topics. So they'll probably end up being a cut and fuse job here. But yeah. Let's go through real quick, see if there's some high points we want to hit. Well, let's just finish the story. So, all right, so Mizuno, we got the blades, hit them great, loved them for years, slowed down, my ability to play slowed down, and, gained a little paunch there. Howdy, what's up, dude?
Great golf brings people together. At Swing Away Golf Club, the experience is built for golfers and everyone who comes with them. Experience North America's only mechanically actuated virtual green with ball tracking by PuttView, paired with Full Swing Pro 2.0 simulators trusted by Tiger Woods and John Ram. Every swing is captured, every shot is real, and every putt reacts exactly like it would on the course. Serious golfers can dial in their game with tour-level feedback and unmatched realism. And for friends and family, Swing Away offers a comfortable, welcoming space with great food, a full-service bar, and fun, interactive experiences that make it easy for anyone to just jump in and enjoy the moment. Play iconic courses from around the world, share the experience together, and enjoy a place where competition, connection, and atmosphere all come together. Swing Away Golf Club. Practice, play, win.
Happy to get the Magnolia room back up and running, but it's no secret that I'm behind on a lot that I got going on, and I didn't need to spend, hopefully, what will be 4 hours or less on replacing a screen. It took me the better part of an entire day to get this one in. Now, it was mainly because it was too small, and
you know, I had already taken the other one down, folded it up, gotten it out of here. So I wanted desperately to be able to make this